Hey everyone, welcome back to Real and Raw. This is your mystery host, and today I'd like to talk about a list of ways that pretty and petite women can Looksmaxx. Okay, so what I did is I put in that exact prompt into ChatGPT, and for it to be brutally honest, and that I'm doing this for research purposes because I am. So when it talks about Looksmaxxing, it's referring to maximizing attractiveness through grooming, presentation, physique, style, energy, and social perception, of which petite women actually already have some structural advantages that are often underestimated, and that a lot of this comes down to proportion, polish, health, and presence. Small mistakes become more noticeable on a petite frame, so details matter more. And it starts off by saying, here's the brutally honest version of this list. It goes over core realities that most people ignore. So pretty and petite already fits a widely favored aesthetic in many cultures. So for instance, they may appear youthful, feminine, approachable, have a protected sort of energy, easier visual proportions for fashion, and lower physical intimidation factor. But there's also a trap. A petite woman can very easily look childish instead of feminine, sloppy instead of effortless, fragile instead of elegant, cheap instead of sensual, and invisible instead of striking. Looksmaxxing for petite women is mostly about the following. Number one, creating visual elongation. So for example, don't go wearing horizontal striped patterns of clothing, but rather opt for vertical lines or vertical stripes to create an illusion of elongation. Number two, maintaining sharpness/polish. Number three, building contrast and presence. And number four, looking intentionally feminine rather than accidental. And then it goes into body composition. It states the following: body composition matters more than weight alone. This is where people get delusional online. A petite woman carrying even 8 to 12 extra pounds can visually look much heavier because there's less vertical frame to distribute it across. But too skinny can also age the face, flatten curves, and create a stressed appearance. So for example, according to the plasma donation center I went to today, I weighed in at 119 and I'm 5 foot tall, versus a few months ago, I was about 103. Okay, so I was visually skinnier and I lost my ass. So when it says flatten curves, I'm a living example of that. And also apparently I looked a little older or more gaunt, I would say, because I had a lot of fat loss. So the sweet spot is usually lean, toned, defined waist, slight muscle tone, healthy skin, visual energy, and not appearing frail. So for petite women specifically, glutes, shoulders, posture, and waist definition dramatically change attractiveness. Again, glutes, shoulders, posture, and waist definition are the focal points here. Most effective physique approach, according to ChatGPT, are the following: resistance training 3 to 5 times a week. I recently started getting back into weight training at least 3 times a week, and I love doing it. Walking, protein intake, moderate calorie control, and avoiding extreme crash dieting. A toned 108 to 118 pounds often looks far more attractive than a depleted 95 to 100 pounds with no muscle tone. You already noted, oh, it's talking about me, so we're going to skip over that because that's not the point here. So let's move on to point number 2. Hair is one of the highest ROI features. Hair can completely change perceived attractiveness. So for petite women, Long, healthy hair often amplifies femininity. Soft volume around the face helps balance proportions, and shiny hair matters more than fancy styling. The brutal truth: dry, fried, over-bleached hair tanks attractiveness fast, and I would agree with that. It looks pretty bad when you see people like this out in the wild with dry, fried, and overly bleached hair, especially with really faded coloring, okay? Doesn't look good. Not judging them, just saying it don't look good. Usually the highest rate of return are the following: dark glossy hair, healthy extensions if natural density is low, face framing layers, subtle volume, maintenance over trends. Extremely severe cuts can overpower a petite frame unless the woman has exceptional facial bone structure. Point number 3, facial harmony over heavy makeup. Petite women usually benefit more from the following: soft glam, skin quality, symmetry enhancement, bright eyes, and subtle contouring than aggressive Instagram makeup. Because heavy makeup can visually wear you instead of enhancing you. The highest rate of return improvements are the following: under eye correction, brows shaped correctly, teeth whitening, skin care, reducing inflammation, puffiness. I'm a big advocate for anti-inflammatory methods here. Sleep, which is a non-negotiable, hydration, also another non-negotiable, and lowering excessive sodium/sugar intake, very important there. People underestimate how much inflammation affects attractiveness. The key word here is underestimate, which is wild because if you're over here looking puffy, swollen, just like tired, obviously that's not going to enhance your attractiveness. You want to opt for what I just said mindfully and not delude yourself into thinking that everything's hunky-dory when in fact, in reality, it's not. So a puffy face equals lower facial definition, which is true, which equals lower perceived attractiveness. It's a simple equation here. It's outlined as such on the screen, just like an equation, okay? Point number 4, clothing fit is everything for petite women. This is massive. Most petite women do not look worse because of their body, but rather they look worse because their clothes are proportioned incorrectly. Oversized fashion can easily make petite women look the following: swallowed, shorter, boxy, messy. But the best principles here are as follows: high-waisted bottoms, crop jackets, vertical lines, fitted waist, monochrome outfits, properly hemmed pants, pointed shoes, and finally, V-necks or open necklines. Tailoring matters way more for petite women than average height women. A cheap outfit that fits perfectly beats an expensive outfit with bad proportions. This is gospel. Not one lie is being told here. Point number 5. Posture and movement matter more than people admit. A petite woman with confident posture, slower movements, eye contact, calm energy, and graceful walking often appears dramatically more attractive than a prettier woman with anxious or chaotic body language. Presence changes perception, which is so true. The internet overfocuses on facial beauty and underestimates charisma, composure, emotional energy, voice, pacing, and warmth. These heavily affect perceived femininity and desirability. Point number 6, skin quality is a huge multiplier here. Clear skin creates a genetic health signal whether people consciously realize it or not. For petite women especially, skin often becomes a focal point because the overall frame is smaller and more delicate. Now, the biggest skin destroyers are as follows: sleep deprivation, chronic stress, smoking and vaping, excessive alcohol, inflammatory diets, dehydration, and overdoing harsh skincare. Glowy, healthy skin often beats full glam makeup. Hell yeah, hands down, non-debatable here. We're almost done. Point number 7, being cute alone peaks early. This is another harsh truth. A lot of petite women rely entirely on youthfulness, being small, and having adorable energy. That works strongly in your early 20s. But long-term attractiveness usually requires evolving into elegance, looking refined, looking sensual, looking polished, and emotionally grounded instead of permanently presenting as girlish, which, yeah, it's got a point. In the 20s, in your 20s, you're peaking there. And then afterwards, how are you going to kind of age like fine wine? You know what I mean? Women who transition well into mature femininity usually age better socially and romantically. I love this. Great point. Almost done. Number 8, fragrance is weirdly powerful. A signature scent can massively increase memorability and perceived attractiveness. People emotionally associate scent with attraction more than they realize. Clean plus feminine plus subtle usually wins over overpowering perfume clouds. I personally wear Victor and Rolf Flower Bomb, and it's literally unforgettable to most people that I come across. It's coming off as intoxicating, as I've been told by some people that have, been around me. They're like, oh my God, it's so freaking nice. I love it. Oh my God, what are you wearing? Usually I'm getting compliments on it. All right, number 9, social media has warped female self-perception. Well, no shit. Okay, brutally honest. Most women comparing themselves online are comparing themselves to, let's hear it, fillers, Botox, editing, okay? Filters. Oh my God, filters. I cannot stand them. Lighting manipulation. That's also a low-key form of catfishing, I guess. Kinda. Surgery. I mean, there's that. I mean, yeah, you're not your original self. You're a surgically enhanced self. And then curated angles. Oh God, we've all seen this. Real world attractiveness is far more holistic. A woman who is fit, smells good, dresses well, has clear skin, carries herself confidently, and has warmth and social intelligence will outperform many Instagram perfect women in actual real life attraction. Hell yeah, this is also a great point that was brought up here. All right, we're just about at the end. Number 10, the biggest looksmaxxing mistake is desperation energy. This destroys attractiveness faster than people realize. When someone becomes obsessive about validation, male attention, I hear the phrase being male-centered, okay? Comparisons, insecurity, and constant checking, it leaks into behavior. And of course, that would be considered an unhealthy obsession. I think an obsession with anything could be categorized as unhealthy if it like literally takes over your life, if it's causing you distress. It's worth looking into, okay? True high-level attractiveness usually includes the following: emotional self-control, grounded confidence, selectiveness, standards, and calmness. Neediness lowers perceived value across both genders. It's kind of like, it's off-putting to me. I'm the opposite of neediness. I really am. I'm like the avoidant type, I guess. if I had to put myself in a category box, I am the opposite of neediness. And it is off-putting when people are needy towards me. And we're at the end. Highest rate of return, or excuse me, highest rate on investment, Looksmaxxing stack for petite women. If someone wanted maximum realistic improvement without surgery, here's what it's saying to do. Focus on having a lean toned physique, great hair, clear skin, flattering fitted clothing, proper posture, teeth whitening / dental care, sleep and reduced inflammation ways, confidence / social presence, signature feminine style, and emotional stability. Those 10 things alone can move someone several points in perceived attractiveness in real life. And honestly, consistency beats perfection. Okay? Most highly attractive women are not flawless. They're simply highly optimized across many small categories simultaneously. And that is the end of this list. I think this is pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If there's something you don't agree with here, if there's something you want to add to this list that ChatGPT didn't cover. But I thought this was pretty legit. Anyway, thanks guys for listening, for tuning in. I always appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next video.